Did you know that behind closed doors at NATO headquarters, Europe's two most powerful nations, France and Germany, have reportedly been moving away from America's most advanced stealth fighter, the F-35, and secretly backing a Rolls Royce-powered Gripen as the alliance's new Plan B? This isn't just a rumor. The cracks are spreading fast, and right in the middle of this seismic shift sits Canada, a country now holding what could be the most strategically brilliant dual-fleet position in the entire Western alliance. Today we are going deep on the story shaking NATO to its core. Stay with me, because by the end of this, you'll understand exactly why Canada's mixed fleet of F-35s and Gripens could make it the most untouchable air force in the alliance. For years, the F-35 Lightning II has been marketed as the NATO standard fighter of choice. Lockheed Martin even said it themselves. Over 550 F-35s operating across 10 European nations by the end of this decade. Bulletproof, dominant, unstoppable. But here's what changed everything. When President Trump began wavering on support for Ukraine, questioning NATO commitments, and slapping tariffs on allied nations, European defense chiefs started asking a question they never expected to ask. Can we actually trust American technology with our national security? The fear is not just political, it is technical. Defense experts and German officials have publicly raised concerns about what insiders call a kill switch, a mechanism through which the United States, which controls all F-35 software and hardware updates, could effectively ground every single allied F-35 on the planet if it chose to. Cybersecurity analysts have confirmed that replacing U.S. control of the F-35 software would be, in their words, extremely difficult, if not impossible. That's not a partnership, that's dependency, and France and Germany have decided they've had enough of it. Here's where it gets explosive. France and Germany have been co-developing the Future Combat Air System, known as FCAS, for years. It was supposed to be Europe's answer to the F-35. But by late 2025, that program was in full crisis. France reportedly demanded up to 80% of the core fighter work, a move that triggered fury in Berlin and threatened to collapse the entire project. A German lawmaker publicly called for splitting from France on the fighter component altogether, and then came the pivot nobody saw coming. In early 2026, reports emerged that France and Germany were weighing an entirely new direction, one that would preserve cooperation on digital warfare systems while shifting the crude fighter element toward a platform with one critical advantage over the F-35: full European sovereign control. The Gripen, powered not by American GE engines but by British Rolls Royce technology, an engine reportedly capable of being manufactured directly in Canada, has become the aircraft of the moment. This is the shift. This is the vote that wasn't supposed to go public, and it changes everything about how NATO's air power strategy looks for the next 30 years. Let's talk about why this aircraft is suddenly the hottest fighter on the planet. The Saab JS-39 Gripen E is a 4.5 generation fighter built entirely around one philosophy: affordability without sacrifice. Its lifetime cost sits at roughly half that of the F-35, which carries an estimated $200 million per aircraft price tag. The Gripen has a combat range of 1,500 kilometers. That's nearly 400 kilometers more than the F-35A variant. It can land on a 500-meter strip of highway, take off in minutes, and have its engine swapped in just 40 minutes in a field environment. Now replace that General Electric engine with a Rolls Royce power plant, technology that carries zero American political strings attached, and you have something genuinely revolutionary. A sovereign, European-aligned, NATO-capable fighter jet that no single government can ground with a software update. Ukraine has already ordered up to 150 Gripen aircraft. Colombia has signed for 17. Sweden flies them. Brazil builds them. And the momentum is only accelerating. Now let's talk about Canada, because this is where the story gets truly extraordinary. Canada originally ordered 88 F-35 Lightnings IIs in a deal valued at over $27 billion. but Prime Minister Mark Carney ordered a formal review in March 2025, saying publicly, and these are his words, that it makes sense to diversify defense partnerships when there are questions of sovereignty at issue. Since then, Saab has made Canada an offer that is almost impossible to ignore. 72 Gripen fighters, 6 GlobalEye surveillance aircraft, and the crown jewel of the pitch, up to 12,600 Canadian jobs. Industry Minister Melanie Joly confirmed the details. 9,000 jobs tied to Gripen production, 3,600 more linked to GlobalEye assembly through Bombardier in Montreal, a full manufacturing center, a research and development facility, and a production line that could build Gripens not just for Canada, but for Ukraine and global export markets, with estimates of 150 to 200 aircraft being built right on Canadian soil. Rolls Royce engines, built mostly in Canada, by Canadians, for Canadian sovereignty. Meanwhile, Lockheed Martin is pushing back, promising $15.5 billion in Canadian industrial value if Ottawa sticks with the full F-35 order. But here's the critical difference. Lockheed builds Canadian F-35s in Texas. Saab builds Canadian Gripens in Canada. An Ecos poll released in early 2026 showed 43% of Canadians want a full Gripen fleet. Another 29% want a mixed fleet of both Gripens and F-35s. Only 13% want the F-35 alone. The Canadian public has spoken, and when you add France and Germany's growing pivot to the Gripen into that equation, Canada isn't just buying a jet. Canada is positioning itself at the center of a brand new Western defense ecosystem. A dual fleet means Canada holds interoperability with the United States through the F-35, while simultaneously holding full sovereign capability through the Rolls Royce Gripen. No kill switch, no dependency, no American veto over Canadian skies. That is what unstoppable looks like. The F-35 era is not over, but it is no longer uncontested. France and Germany are shifting. Canada is at a crossroads, and the Rolls Royce Gripen is emerging as the defining aircraft of a new NATO reality, one built on sovereignty, affordability, and European industrial power. The question now is simple. Will Canada go all in on this moment and lock in a dual fleet advantage that no other allied nation currently holds? Or will it blink under US pressure and walk away from 12,600 jobs, sovereign defense, and a historic opportunity? Drop your thoughts in the comments right now. I want to know where you stand. If this broke something open for you today, hit that subscribe button and ring the bell. We bring you daily breaking defense news that the mainstream won't touch. We'll see you in the next one.